For the Joy of Blue collaboration this month, I played with scraps and would love to show you what I made. Hey guys, it's Beth. Welcome. This is the Joy of Blue collaboration, which is hosted by Sarah, who's crafting and relaxing here on YouTube. This is a collaboration where you're just encouraged to play or craft with the color blue. Can be any type of craft. And there are several participants in this collaboration. There is a hashtag up in the title and in the description box. And if you click on that hashtag, you can go see everybody who has participated this month for this collaboration. I focused on scraps, blue scraps this month, and the Smash Our Stash collaboration theme was scraps. So usually in the month where we're playing with scraps, I tend to play with scraps for as many projects as I can. So that's why you see blue scraps for Joy of Blue too. I started off, I'm still working on trying to finish up my 2015-16 photos, getting them scrapbooked, which was my goal for last year. And so I decided to use some blue and gray scraps to scrapbook this Butler basketball game layout. And I didn't really alter the scraps much. I had a big piece of like some 8.5 by 11 blue. So I just put that down and then added the strip of the gray chevron, and then wanted to carry the blue up here into the corner. So just added some scrap pieces as fishtail banners. This, I actually had a 12-inch piece of the blue stripe, so I added it here. And then the gray, I had to kind of piece together behind the photos. It was smaller, shorter, so I had to make it stretch across the layout. So just a real simple layout. Since I have so many pictures, those were the only two scraps I used. So I did get 2 scrapbook pages made. And then I took some of the cardstock that was not big enough to make a card mat or anything, and decided to do some bookmarks. And so I just have 3 bookmarks that I still need to add the tassels, but they're just cardstock scraps. And then I went through my punch stash and found some stars and then a heart. So 3 bookmarks, and then I have 31 cards, and these are mostly winter themed. I decided to focus on like my blue and gray, like winter, or my winter scraps, which were blue, gray, and white. So I tried to focus on the blues, and I used several sketches to help me make these 31 cards. This is Operation Right Home sketch number 25, and all of my sketches used will be linked in the description box below. Just at this point was just using scraps that I could cut into, like, that were maybe at least 1 3/4 inches wide, and that I could make 2 inches long. And it just found ones that coordinated with each other. I had already printed some, like, these cute little snow bears. They were printed and in my embellishment stash. So I decided to try and use some of those up as well. And then just stamped my sentiment down here at the bottom. And on most of these, I do still need to add, like this one will need some white paper on the inside, but I need to add my scraps on the inside yet. This one is actually more greens than blues, but same concept. These colors just seem to coordinate better together. And then here we're back into the blues and the grays. And then I have one that is Operation Right Home sketch number 203. And this just used a bunch of thin strips that I had. And then I had some like tags, like old tag kit in my stash. And so there were a bunch of these blue, like there were some blue pinwheels and then some other like snow words. So I decided to bring in the pinwheel, and then I just did "You're Cool." And I thought instead of winter specifically, this could also work for like the cards for hospitalized kids or cards for Cubs donations. You know, one of those donation agencies where they send cards to kids. I thought that would be a fun kid card. Anyway, this is Freshly Made Sketches number 276. And I I had some of these snowflake punches, but I didn't really want white. I think most of them were in white. So I dug out my snowflake punch and then used some of the blue and gray scraps that I had out and added 2 snowflakes just to kind of offset my sentiment there. This is Freshly Made Sketches number 207. And I was just trying to use up some of the different shaped bits that I had. So I went through and figured out like what scraps I had that went together and would work for these size pieces. This was actually a journal card that I just cut down. It had like a white scalloped border around it. So I just cut it down just to have the snowman be on there. This is actually a piece that was fussy cut out of a wrapping paper scrap. I just liked the penguin, thought he would make a fun embellishment, and then again went with the You're Cool. I liked the colors, kind of like the muted, kind of vintagey blues of this. And then one of my favorite sayings, sorry for what I said when it was winter, when I'm cranky and cold all the time and it's gray outside. So just kind of pieced those together. This is just a random one I did. This is another one of those like tag pieces that I had in my stash. It said wish. So I just kind of stuck that on there. This is Operation Right Home sketch number 20. And just kind of added my pieces here. And then I found some tiny little snowflake stickers that finished off I don't know why, I still had nothing left on the sticker sheet but the tiny snowflakes, so used those up. 'Tis the season to be freezin'. I made a handful of these. This is Operation Right Home sketch number 171. Again, great for strips. And then I just kind of grouped my strips together, backed them on mostly, I think, white cardstock, and then just found mats and then something to put here at the bottom. And this is like a piece that I had pulled off of like a 2-layer tag. Another one there. Winter Blessings. Those muted colors again. I like those. And then You're Cool. And I actually pulled out an embossing folder for this one. I meant to do more and kind of got working on and forgot about it. But it's a snowflake embossing folder from Echo Park. And then just added the You're Cool sentiment. And then this was from that winter tag kit as well. And then I have a bunch of these, My Favorite Things, sketch number 180. And I had a bunch of strips that were longer, so I just kind of left them whatever width they were. And then this piece over here, again, was just whatever size it was, like a rectangle or square. And then I stamped a bunch of bears. I have a little bear stamp set, and so a polar bear. So I just stamped the bears either on white or gray and then colored in his nose and his scarf, and then added a sentiment. And then in some cases I added some additional embellishments, but so these are all pretty much the same, but you can see that the size of this piece noticeably changes. This is a journal card, worked perfect. This one I didn't use the bear, I just used the sentiment. And then the mat here is actually packaging from I think a sticker or embellishment set that I really liked the pattern and the color. So, and then my favorite sketch, you guys see it all the time, Operation Right Home sketch number 154. I did a few of these. Again, it was just whatever little bits I had left. If I could get a 1.5 inch square, then this is what I used it for. And this one I was trying to use up. I had a big piece of the snowflake, and so I was able to get 2 card mats out of it. And so kind of a busy card, but I was trying to get that piece used up. And then this one I had some snowflakes that were die cut, I think from Smash Our Stash the end of last year when I was doing a bunch of die cutting from my scraps. So used those up. And then this one is a bunch of random things. I had a piece of cardstock, not quite big enough for a card mat, And then this is the backside of a journal card. I liked the fact that it pulled in like the blue and purple because I had one random purple snowflake scrap. So brought in one of my punched snowflakes, and then this winter tag is from that little winter tag set that I had. Used up a bunch of those finally. This is a kind of a cute little scene that I started with. I had die cut a bunch of these, or not a bunch, a few of these little houses at the end of last year when I was die cutting scraps. And so I decided, and I had this bear that was already stamped on this kind of speckled paper. And so I decided that he would look cute with this house, and then I would turn it into a little scene. So I just found like some gray wood grain paper, and then I die cut. It was a scrap piece of the speckled paper, and it wasn't a full sheet, but I just wanted enough to maybe make a snowy roof. And then added my bear, and then cut like a little swoopy piece down here for like a snow drift. And then added some vinyl snowflakes. And then this is funny because I was trying to figure out how to use, I had some of these punched out sentiments. They're circles, but they weren't quite centered somehow. And so this worked out perfect because there was more of the circle at the top than the bottom. So I was able to, sticking it here in the corner, I could cut off that top part. So that worked out well. Here's another one of those houses. I just decided to use it with one of those little bears. This was, I'm not sure if it was actually a journal card or if it was just a piece that was cut out of like a Christmas card or something, because it's glossy, almost like if it would have been a greeting card, but it was in my stash. I think somebody sent it in Happy Mail, and then just added a vinyl high to it. This one used up another one of those bears, and then I found some white wood grain paper in my stash and was trying to like make another little, not a real scene, but just kind of a grouping. The house doesn't really stand out very well, but so I added some snowflakes just to kind of highlight it a little bit more. And then these last two, I was just trying to use strips. So I had some that were like the perfect width. I think it's like maybe 1.25 inches. And so I just trimmed them down to, I believe they are 4 inches or 4 1/8. I don't remember, maybe 4. And then they were all the perfect width. And so I just trimmed them down and kind of alternated the colors here, or alternated the patterns. The colors worked really well together. And then I figured it needed a big focal point. So I brought out that polar bear again, stamped it on white and with the Warm Winter Wishes sentiment, and then just did a couple of stitched rounded rectangles to offset it. So there's my 31 cards, my 2 scrapbook layouts, and 3 bookmarks. So my focus was paper crafting with scraps this month with the color blue. Again, be sure to check out the other participants through that hashtag, and you can see what type of crafting medium and what projects that everybody else used this month. I thank you guys so very much for your time today, and hope you all have a very crafty day.